probably the primary influence in your career?
I think I'd have to say London Johnson along with one, like those were the two main influences in the beginning. Now, neither played exactly London. London had a way of playing that, to me, it was not really traditional blues, but then it wasn't jazz either. It seemed to be somewhere kind of in between. London Johnson was a little more live. London had a way of playing with certain patterns. It seemed like they were playing, and I can't do too well. So, playing those areas in TV. I got first time. I think about it. But I ain't got sufficient room. Don't know. Man, but so, and then he's got. You know, and he's an out like, but I would, instead of him double timing as musicians start to use the word, I would expect him to continue that, but he wouldn't. Fine, take his body. When I Lonnie Johnson was all together, different. Lonnie to me, even though Blind Lemon had certain little phrases that he would do that would remind me of Lonnie Johnson. For instance, like Lonnie would be in the city TV as it were, and I'd hear this. It's kind of like somebody using good diction speaking to me. Like that.
Lonnie would use the finger vibrato as well.
Yeah. Not like that. This came about in my case from listening to the bottleneck. I have a cousin named Booker White, had a cousin rather, and he would put a bottleneck or like a knife or some kind of metal piece, and do that. My fingers never been able to do it, but when I would take the guitar and that sound a little bit like, if you had the bottle. So that's how I started to do it. Well, so after so long, after listening to Blind Lemon, after listening to Lonnie Johnson, when I would try to mimic them or do what they did, which do I'm not very good with words, but if I'm talking, trying to make a point to you, okay, I might start it, and it's like telling a joke. If I start like so, like that, cut it off, you don't get the point. But if I do, then I feel that you'll laugh. You get the point. That's what I'm really stressing the point. I want to really get, although it's in here then.
So let's break down what you're just playing here. You're bending with the third finger and then releasing and bending the next string with your third finger, right?
Right. What I try to do though is to have control over each one of them.
Right.
For instance, on this E here. If I want to hit the E way up, I also, but the trio is mostly in just like this. Don't know the right word.
So your hand isn't even on the neck, your thumb isn't even on the neck, it's just your fingers.
That's my finger. And if you can see it from this side, see, I'm not even touching it.
Right. It's just the only thing that's touching your neck is your pinky right
just I'm going along. can sustain that. And if you get quick in the air, you can sustain it as long as you want. It's not like being up in a glider plane, as long as you got a curve, air. And I think a lot of it has to do with how even you. Another thing, now you use quite a bit of travel on it. And the way that came about, I cannot have lows like most people. Okay, I can't hear the bass E on that, the D or either one of them as the B. I can't hear it like I could the E up top or this B up here. I hear that's one of the reasons why I use a lot of highs.
Baby, let's talk about T-Bone Walker and the influence he had on you.
Well, T-Bone Walker to me had a style, a sound that I never heard anybody really, even to today, completely imitate exactly what he did. Now, a few guys I've heard get close to it, but he had a way of bending the strings. That might be the reason why I bend the strings today. But T-Bone didn't really bend his bending most was like that. See if I can get a little bit. He had another way of starting, like the intro to a song that he just killed. And I guess this is one of the reasons why I use ninth chords today.
Could you play that a little slower and go through it?
He would start. And it seems to me that he would start with his pinky finger here. Well, first with this one.
So he would bend the C to a D.
Yeah.
And then play the D on the basic string on B string.
Right.
Okay.
And then to the G and back up to what the F.
F, right.
And if you do it fast, it'll sound. So I think it went twice. So let me try again. Like that. So.
And you're bending that E flat just a hair.
Just a
hair. It's almost a quarter step bend.
Not as much as you did in the beginning with the rest of it. And then he would go, let's see, he would hit maybe this G7, what is it? Dominant 7. I've never been able to do that, so I have to like that. And then that's when you would go from the 1 to the 4.
And there you're in the 8th position.
The 8th position.
Right off of that chord on the pattern.
Well, the reason why I do that is because if I would stay, for instance, here, I can't control the strings as I wish. In other words, I have too many open strings here. So I could have gone to the C here, but I couldn't control. In fact, I can't even figure out what I can do with it. That Yeah, but that would work for what I would want there. So next I would come back instead of being from this G to this C here. So playing the blues to me, even though it's trauma, person to learn all of the positions possible. But then you'll find it's kind of like, in my case, it's kind of like an ingredient rather, that you might be fixing a malt, put something in, a little chocolate in the milk and so on. Well, I think what I'm trying to say, you find the one that sounds the best to you, but learn them all, which I did. So when I come up here, I do it slowly.
Something that most guitar players don't do is you bend up with the first finger. Most guitar players rely on their third finger to bend, and that's in that position. You bend the C to a D on the eighth fret with the first finger. That's very easy. There you
Or
Does that come out of the T-Bone Walker school, or is that something that you added to the style?
I think it's something I added to it. Because as I mentioned earlier, T-Bone was good with bending this third finger there. That's one of the things. That's all I can do. I wish you could have like, but I found though that when I came up here to this position here, to the eighth fret, what I'm gonna do there, I can't do that there. So I need something to sustain, something to hold my own mind to. In other words, I'm trying to make a point. So to bring that resolve back to there. And then sometimes, according to how carried away I might be, I might come up to the 10th fret and do the same thing.
Now, when you go up to the 10th fret, you're going to be playing over the 5 to 5, right? B, D, and
But I can't control it so down here as much. But a lot of times use the D for that and blues down here. This one comes good. Or if you're trying to play a chord, the C comes good now because it's lower and you got more body to me down here than you would have. So I personally go, I like it. If we were playing, for instance, if you do a one, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Then the five. That's the way I resolve it.
that was a beautiful lick that you played from over the D chords back down to the C chord.
Don't ask me to do it again. Let me try it again.
Okay, that was
Try it again.
okay. Terrific.
The one thing, though, I think playing the blues again, we kind of cut across the boundaries of proper progressions, and you sort of put the note in that sounds good. Otherwise, you may not run the whole chord. For instance, like we're in G, right? Well, if a guy is fast and can do it, like I know a lot of the guys got fast fingers and do, well, my fingers are not so fast, so I think I use the word I call trading.
Seed for taste, maybe.
Yeah. So I would do in the G chord, I might hit the tonic, push up on the C there, push it up to D again. Mm. Back to the B
There's
flat.
that bend again when you just
Yeah. Well, that's what I hear. So I'll take the 4 of the G,
right,
which is the C, right?
right.
But I don't want to hit it. I don't want to hit the D first. So I like to slide up to it.
And you take that B flat and just
Mm-hmm.
nudge it almost between B flat and D.
Right.
Yeah. That's great.
Now, sometimes we got the time. I might bring it on up to, but most times it sounds better to me. Then I'd go back to the 1 again. Then, if I got enough time again and want to play around with just a little bit, to the 5.
Exactly the 5 chord, right? Could you do that look again? Because that's. So you're bending the.
Starting
on the E,
on
right?
the E, and go up to the F.
Sharp, right?
Then we come back down to the 8th fret again. So I haven't played that many notes, but it's still kind of going to the
Everything that needs to be said.
Well, anyway, that's the way I got started trying to do it. Well, also I find that country music as well as jazz, gospel, all of it creeps in there just a little bit into your blues feeling. So you want to, I guess if you were playing a tune that have a lot of changes, then you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry then about what note to put in because the notes are all there. For instance, if I let's say it was now if you were doing that, well then you're busy anyway. But if you're only playing just, hey, for 1, 4, and 5, 12-bar blues, well you got to try to find something that's gonna not only interest you, but interest the person that might be listening to you. So I think technically you got a lot to do. A lot to do because you got to really find, I quite often use the word like you have a road map. So you may stop by this mailbox and see who lives there and so on and so on. But when you're playing, so and you can just keep going like that. But if you play it blues, you need. And you really got to be placed them in the right place. So I think a lot of times, people quite often say, well, anybody can play the blues. Yes, you can. Anybody can do most anything. But would you like it?
How you play.
Yes, I think so.
Let's just go over that progression real quickly for our viewers. It would be you play a G6, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the third fret
Yes.
to E7 on the fifth fret,
Right.
to A7 on the fifth fret, to D7 on the third fret.
Right. See, what kind of tune could I play?
Uh,
So you can play, I guess, there's so many tunes you can play using that kind of progression, and maybe what we call a little bridge after that you put in. So it's a lot that you can do, and you can make that bluesy. It can be very bluesy. If I have anything in my head that could bring out a melody, really.
Rock me, baby. Rock me all night long. Rock me, baby. Oh, you rock me all night long. Rock me, baby. Like a doctor got no bone. Rock me, baby. Oh, you rock me slow. Rock me, baby. Oh, you rock me slow. Rock me, baby. Till I go no more.
the jazz influence on you, namely Charlie Christian, for example.
Right.
What can you tell us about him? What did you get from him?
Charlie Christian, to me, was a master of using diminished chords. It seemed to me that when I first started to hear music as a whole, they didn't have names for a lot of the chords like we do today, your flat five, augmented, five or fifth, whatever. And the many chords. So a lot of the arrangers seemed to me to, I don't know if they was just a good way to get out of it. They would use diminished chords to move from one point to another in a lot of cases. Well, it seemed to me that was just, that was just fitted for Charlie Christian. I used to hear him with Benny Goodman. They had tunes like seven, come 11, and so on and so on. Solo Flight and all these things. Well, it seemed to me like the writers, whoever was writing for them, would just at any bridge or any release, any place, they turn it over to Charlie and he go town with it. So like, in my words, it's kind of like seeing people running track, and I got this, the what it is, and I bring it and I pass it to you and you go with it. Well, that's the way it seemed to be with Charlie Christian. Whenever they give him that, yes, he runs with it. Well, that's what I learned from him. I could never match it though, but I'll use it a lot now unintentionally. I'll use it not realizing I'm doing it. So if I'm in G again, I might something. So if we had a little, see if we had a little bit of just a little bit of a bounce going on, something like that. Yeah. So that's what he did.
Slow it down for us.
Okay. What he would do sound to me like.
So what you're doing is you're playing a pattern starting on the 3rd fret of the low E string, which would be G, and then you're playing the B flat with your 3rd finger,
Yes.
as opposed to your 4th finger.
Right.
And that instantly shifts you to the next position, to the 4th position, where you hit the B flat or the C sharp with your 1st finger.
Which is not a proper finger at all.
It sounds great, and a lot of different players handle diminished patterns different ways.
Well, okay.
Until there, right?
Then I might take it back up.
That's another pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you're starting on the
I'll start on this
E,
E here, yeah.
second, fifth, fourth string,
Then the G,
same with your 3rd finger,
it's on the G.
right?
Then B flat to
4th finger,
and 4th flat. To the E,
natural,
then the G,
the G, and there's your diminished
then
arpeggio,
B flat.
E flat, right?
But he could keep running and it was a
All these different positions, yeah.
I sit there and go crazy. Now that's what Charlie Christian would do. But Django Reinhardt also was another influence as far as the jazz is concerned. And Django had only 3 fingers a kid that he could work with. So he played a lot of two fingers like that, but he was so fast. But what I got from him was once he started. So it was a little off from what I would have.
Then you go from a flat third to the natural third, and then being flat. That was right after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would never do that. I would. That's what I would do. So actually, it's just about seven, but here's what he wants to play. Then another thing he would do, he had. I was talking about those two fingers. Because these two fingers, his was, he was burned in an accident, and they was together at the time. So he had just three fingers that he could stretch. So he would. And the rhythm, the way he played it, oh man, he had so many things that he would do. Well, I will do that now from time to time, but I'll probably do it this way. And that's the way I use it in the blues.
So you're going from the third position. You're playing in thirds, E and G, sliding up,
The B flat.
G and B flat, and then go your classic lick.
Well, that's the way I hear it.
You've been listening to horn players through the years too, and I know that Louis Jordan was an influence on you. Talk a little bit about him.
Yes. I think what I learned from Louis Jordan, you hear it quite often. It just, Louis had a thing going, let's see, with his horn. Again. So that's the way he was phrased on his horn. So I got started doing it with the guitar because it seemed it's the only way I could hear things. So I would start again. I still hear the alto. I'm still hearing the horn. So that's what I hear from him. And I guess that's a big part of it. When I try to phrase like that, I can still hear, it's not so staccato like the guitar's supposed to be, Well, I don't hear it like that. I hear sustaining, kind of lingering on.
You have to show us that bend there.
Okay. All right, you go.
So you're actually bending a minor third from the D to the F.
I guess it is.
It is. It's incredible.
So I might hear that last part. I want to hit that. What am I hitting here? Oh, the A again. And the A up to the B again. I've never sat down and thought about it as we're talking, so that's just something I hear. To me, it resolved back then. Louis Jordan, to me, was a superb musician, and The one thing that I got mostly from him was the phrasing, the way I showed you a few minutes ago. I can still hear his horn.
So let's talk about some of your other jazz influences, Johnny Hodges, Lester Young.
Yeah, Johnny Hodges, Lester Young, also trumpeter Bobby Hackett. All three of these guys was a big influence on my trying to learn the phrase. I could never play like, as I've said, I guess many times on this since we've been talking, could never play like either, but I like standard tunes. I like a lot of the standard tunes, and my early years, I had guys in the band like Hank Crawford, uh, George Coleman, Fred Ford, a lot of the people that today are very, very big. Even my first record I cut, Phineas Newborn was on it. Also was his brother Calvin. However, they used to try to teach me tunes. I guess that's kind of it's kind of a good thing for young people to get together because they're not afraid to learn. Listening to Johnny Hodges, for instance. I guess if I had kept going, I would. But I like the way he seemed to just lay on it.
But it's funny how you're phrasing that completely BB. It's completely your own style. You got the bends and the legato and the trills and everything.
Well, that's the way I feel it. And if I was going to keep, playing, that's the way I see that I could make it sound. Because when I hear him play it, then I'm like that.
Do you phrase differently on a slow groove or on a fast groove?
Yes, it would be different because if I was playing, or let's take this thing in, or 8-bar thing. I feel like I'm talking to the person. I feel like I'm talking to the
Sure
person.
sounds like it.
Bridge. So I feel then that that's how the phrasing is a bit slower, and I try to make it more personal for me in it. I love to play. I like to play tunes, but I can hear the lead, like even in standard tunes, I can hear it. But I don't try a lot of standard tunes. And one of the reasons I don't try, I may know the melody, but I'm afraid to jump the time. So I have to do a lot of practicing before I start on trying to do, just do tunes. But early years, when I first started, I used to try to do tunes like Lady Be Good, Um, oh gosh, even body and soul, things like that. But that was because when I was younger, a lot of the good musicians, as we mentioned, Hank Crawford, we had Evelyn Young, Herman Green, a whole lot of people that was around me, George Coleman, Booker Little, all the guys that was around me at that time knew these tunes. And for some reason, they loved me and wanted me to learn them. So they taught me a lot. And I used to try them when I had nerves. But after a while, then I decided that for the time being, I would just stick to what I'm doing. And I think it paid off a little bit because I was able to really get it. I concentrated on that. I think of my playing a lot of times, like when we do doctors. Some doctors are MDs, and then there are others that are specialists in this and that. So I thought that I'd try to specialize in the blues the way I play them for a while.
In the top of your field.
Thank you.
One more thing. Do you sing to yourself when you solo? Because I noticed when you play, your mouth's actually singing the
Yeah.
lines while you're playing them.
I used to laugh a lot as the musician. I see, and I'm sitting there laughing. I don't laugh so much now when I see myself. When I was married, my wife used to say I look like a guy eating lemons, lemon face, she called. But I'm really into what I'm doing. So it doesn't matter to me what I look like at that time because I'm really interested in what I'm doing.
And you hear the notes in your head,
Yes,
obviously, at the same time that they come out of your
Yes, I do.
Nobody loves me but my mother. And she could be jiving too. Hey, nobody loves me but my mother. And she could be jiving too. So now you know why I act funny with you, baby. Oh, when you do the thing you do.
I've noticed that you sometimes play sixths. Maybe that's where your country influenced this.
That's an old blues style, man, that I heard long before I ever heard country music.
Really?
Oh yeah, the average guy, the average blues player, this
That's it.
I can't do it that well, but let's change keys. So I'm in G.
Yeah.
A lot of times it comes in handy when you blues adopted itself is always one of the great sounds for blues music. So if you get ready to change, so you're getting ready to go to your four chord then.
Yeah.
And it'll lay on that.
Sure, you lay it right on the down into the front. It's hitting the 5 and then the 4 using the same chord trying to catch.
So I heard that from the blues players. Well, Lonnie Johnson did that. Blind Lemon did it. All of those guys back then. Barbecue Bob, Charlie Patton. So I heard that long before I heard country, but I love country music. The sound, though, those tried sounds have always been in my head, still stay there. Because the gospel songs that I used to play and sing in, we still use triads. In fact, just a little taste of diminish on rare. Rare, I mean, it had to be something supposed to be a tune with a lot of changes. So it was rare. And even today, that country and gospel sound is still in my head. So any tune that I may play that's bluesy, real bluesy, you still dissect it. You'll find the gospel and the country right there, because that was the beginning. And if anything get a little complicated today, when I say complicated, I mean beyond, well, in other words, the chords become altered. You play enough flatted fives or augmented, whatever it may be, and I don't hear them too well. So it sounds foreign. It's like speaking a different language.
Do you think those chords take away from the authenticity of the earlier styles?
Well, for me, I've always tried to continue to advance. This never did kill me just to stay. I like it. Now that's what I first heard. Well, I like this. But I couldn't be satisfied with just thumb picks and doing that. Especially when I saw other people using that plectrum. So that's when I said, if it killed me, I will learn to use it. So I learned, but this one is, this is not a medium, this is a hard, heavy pick. And one of the reasons I use a heavy pick is because I can hit them really hard. But for speed, one could use a lighter pick, smaller, and I'm sure it'd be much faster. But I kind of like an old saying once: animals up a tree eating grapes, and the animal that couldn't climb the tree yelled up at the others, said, "Throw some grapes down." They said, "You want? Come get them." He knew he couldn't climb the tree, so he said, "Well, they saw anyway." Well, that's the way I am. I can't play that fast, so I'd rather have the hard pick. And other ways, I compensate the slowness, precise, I call myself saying, other word substitute, I should say, and that for the speed.
Speaking of picking, do you mostly pick down, or do you pick up or down, or
More times down than up.
do you find more?
My later years, more control, but I would much rather be able to do, up and down. I'm trying to run a scale here, but a lot of times when the pressure's on me, and I want to make sure that I don't miss this. So if I try to, it doesn't come out as well. Yeah, not to me.
So that's a lot more authority, a lot more
Yeah.
fight to it.
Right. So see, it doesn't matter too much then. Because you've said what you wanted to say, but that's another thing that when we was talking, I didn't mention, to keep this going a little bit. Again.
We should do that a little slower so that.
Yeah.
So you start on the.
Start with that D there.
You're right.
D to the F,
The F,
the G to the B flat,
right?
to the C,
And then you bend
put
with that.
bended, and then I kick it again with my
You
finger.
pull it off with your third finger to the first finger. I see. And then you resolve
Go
it
back to the G again.
That's a signature idea of yours.
So if you ask me how I came up on it, I don't know how to tell you, but it's there.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot. Again, we go back to my ears tell me that sounds pretty good. Because it resolved back on the G again. I'm not good with my right hand, especially like a lot of contemporary players, boy, they got them chopped and they, I just wish they could, there you go. Like that.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So I have to make the best of what I got. So what I'll do a lot of times to cheat a little bit, so, intentionally.
Yeah. So what is it exactly that you do? Because that is such a signature blues sound.
Well, I was told a long time ago that two tones, if you cup your hand, put your hand on the strings and hold it, you hit a lot of the strings, but not making a sound on them, with the exception of
last
that make these two down here sound bigger because of when you do strike them. I seem like the ear of the wind, what you got? When is it coming? And then finally, there it is. Well, that's what I'm pretty good with, putting this part, the fat part of my hand on this.
So you mute the strings with your right hand, not with your left hand.
Not with my left.
And do you usually hold the chord form when you do that in the rate? I see you holding the C chord there.
I usually hold the chord for him, yes. That's so, the minute that I reach the end here, I got it here on the left hand. So my right hand is not so good with even the downstroke. I've got to be very careful. Don't I'll miss strings from time to time. You probably heard me fluff a lot of. I don't see, it's supposed to be there. Where is it? This is what my hand is saying. But my later years, in the last 10 or 15 years, I guess, I've been more up and down picking than ever before. I wanted to do it. I practiced doing it. But
When you do a rake downward, you do a rake upwards too, don't you?
rarely. A rake upward was like, that's the only time.
So what are you doing there?
Yeah. Well, at first, most times come down with that muted sound.
And then you're going from major to minor, actually. You're holding a major chord form, and minor arpeggio. I see. It's such a signature sound. I'm glad we're covering it.
But the way I play, I guess, if I'm playing in major or minor, for instance, if I'm in C like I am now, C major, but if I was gonna play,
You stay on the flat at third a lot.
that's the way I hear it.
That's it. That's the blues sound. Do you have a high action or low action on your guitar?
Quite low. I don't like to have heavy corn on my fingers because sometimes they itch and they can so rough. So on my fingers, because while playing now you can see the dents, but usually it's no corn. The exception, I think we did quite a bit of it yesterday. Normally, it's no corn on my fingers at all, where you can see. I mean, you got soft corn grain, and usually there aren't any. So I even keep the action quite low, up just enough to where it won't, won't ring against the frets. But I carry pretty heavy strings on the bottom, especially. On the top, I've got a 10 on the E string here. The second string is 13. Third string is 17. 30 on the D string. 42, 44, I think 44 on the A string, and a 54 usually is what I like on the E string.
They have very heavy bottoms.
Yeah, very heavy bottom because as a blues player, I still, like when I do hit these chords, I don't want them to sound tingy. I want them. So if you're hitting, and if the strings wasn't as heavy, I don't think you get as big a sound.
And any particular choice of amps that you use? Or?
I carry the lab, the L5, the lab system, which they've been out of print for a while. I hear that they're making some more, but I'm going up about 5 or 6 of them to keep them. So, but a good amplifier is what we're using today is the Fender Twin. Fender Twin is very good. One thing that's good about that, we can find them anywhere, they seem to be pretty near the same. When I'm home, when I say home, cut in the United States, and my bus is here and I can have them, but I don't ship them over. That's one of the things that with a small group like I have, we don't ship instruments with the exception of Lucille. I keep with me all the time, but other than my guitar or my bass player, and my guitarist, each one of them, we just carry our instruments and we use whatever amp that's there. A lot of times, 2/3 of the times when I'm traveling, especially abroad, I never see the amplifier until I go on stage.
But you still get your sound. That's amazing.
Well, I try hard. Another little secret that I usually do, and that is the amp that I have, whatever it might be, the master volume usually is up all the
way to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I control the rest of it from the guitar, from here. So usually I can hear pretty well the sound that I want. That's why I can say usually to technicians when we work and whatever sound they want there, I'll get what I want from here.
I think we touched upon this a little earlier, but I think we should go into this a little more in depth since you are world renowned for this natural vibrato.
Okay, well, what happens usually, I will hold maybe the neck to get started, like with the thumb.
What's up? What's up?
But
What's up?
mostly-
Welcome.
When I touch the string, my hand is not on the neck at all afterward. Because it comes from the wrist, it comes from here.
So you shake the whole hand.
The whole hand like this. But you try as if you was weighing a pound of feathers over here and a pound of lead here. You try to even them. The, that's not making much sense, is it? But you try to even the trill, if you will. And so, and if you do that, you'll hear just about as much up as you do down.
So do you push the string up or do you go both?
It just, I guess technically it's both ways, but it's not
Yeah.
not that. So you're almost in the same spot, but just a little twist this way, that way.
I noticed you do that with all four fingers.
All four fingers.
Regardless. So how would you suggest that someone just starting to play the blues develop their own vibrato?
Well, I would say to them, just as it's awkward for me to use a bottleneck doing this, it may be awkward for them to do this or do that. So what you try to do, and you got to practice, that's one thing you must do. Anybody that plays need to practice. Some people that are apt, and think real good may not need to practice as much as anybody. But if you want to get better at what you do, you got to practice. So I would say put your finger on the string, hold it down, listen to it first. So you hear it. Which sounds best to you? To me, the faster I do that, the better it sounds to me. To a speed of where I'm comfortable with the sound, which is close to the vibrato in a person's voice. I think it's what I'm hearing. It first starts like dropping a pebble in the water. It starts here, and then the waves go.
And you suggest doing it with every finger?
Every finger. Even though I can do it with all fingers, it seemed to me that the second one I'm the best with. This one, I guess I do it more. But after a while, you find that either one is good. But I hope that, you'll do it with taste, meaning that not simply because you can do it, like the first time you hit the string, So if I'm playing, every time I hit a note, that doesn't sound right. So
You have to know where to put it.
that's what I'm trying to say. Thanks, you helped me out. But there are other times when so I don't want it there.
You'll bend up and you won't use the vibrato. Do you ever use vibrato when you do bend up?
So I would seldom do that. I can't find a word. It doesn't seem to fit.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to fit for me. So I would rather do, because this is where I really want to tell my story. I'm leading to the story. If that makes sense.
Makes complete sense. Let's talk about your bending. I'd like to get your bending technique a little in depth. Do you, when you bend with your third finger, do you use the first two fingers as support, or do you just bend with a finger by itself, or what's your technique with that? Do you use your thumb?
Let me see, what do I do? Let me figure it out. I think I kind of use the second finger for support. Yeah. By holding the three there, this is like from a cold start, if you will. And once you start it, go from what I call a cold start, I mean the beginning.
Right.
Then then I think it's just each finger for itself then.
Yeah, I noticed with the first finger you just use the finger.
See?
Yeah.
A lot of times to not, if I'm kind of in a hurry, when I say in a hurry, it's like the patterns are moving pretty fast on me. And I got a lot I want to do within the bar there. Excuse me. A lot I want to do within the bar. So when you might, if you had time, you know, if the pattern is moving slowly. But most times you don't know. In my case, I'm not sure where I'm going to be. So, because once I get my introduction there going, then I can kind of take my time and place the notes wherever I feel. And don't get me wrong, it's not like you got a checkerboard and you see where I move here. It's not that, but you steady hearing it going through your head and listen to the changes at the same time.
So the first thing you did was like a quick bend. You just
Yes.
yanked it up. And then if you have time, you take your time.
Yeah, if I had time.
See that? There we go. Yeah. Maybe you can play the fast one and then the slow one, just so we can compare them. So the slow one is almost a gliss. You're just almost glissing up while you're bending. Do you ever bend with the fourth or second fingers?
Not much.
Not much.
But this one here, no. I mostly do that one like, but this is really a spare. In other words, if you ain't got nothing else left up here, he's busy. Can you?
One more thing. When you just sit at home all alone and you have the guitar in your hand, you stretch out sometimes. You play things that you normally wouldn't play on stage.
Yeah, stumble all over the place. Yeah. But what I do now, like you take the computer, I got a computer at home and I got deluxe music software, and I put that on and I'll put something in it that I like to play with. I bounce or something funky or something soft. And so I program to play something that I like, and then I'll play along with it, and then don't care where and what I try to play. So that's the one way I've kind of advanced my playing a little bit from that. But prior to the computer, what I would do then was maybe find a record or something that is playing something that I can hear the changes pretty well, and then just go and play with that.
You want to try some of that now? Stretching out a little bit?
Just a hair.
Just a hair. All right. All right.
All right. See, let's have, let's say, we haven't did anything in F sharp, have we? So F sharp would be just a little different. Hey.
Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. It's been fun for me.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone away. The thrill is gone, baby. Thrill is gone away. You got me wrong, baby. Gonna be sorry someday. Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone away from me. Thrill is gone, baby. Thrill is gone away from me. Oh, I'm still love. I'm so lonely. I'm still. Thrill is gone. The thrill is gone away from me. The thrill is gone, baby. The thrill is gone away from me. I know I feel gone one day, baby. Like I know a good man should. I'm free now, baby. I'm free from your spell.